Whilst searching for a Mako in the glassworks basement, Pseudo had arrived and caught me off guard with an arrow. Despite such a surprise, I was swift enough to turn the tide in my favor by luring him into my serpentine charm. However, he escaped my grasp, but not without a Mago's rapier in my possession. Clear for now. I escort a Mago to reconvene with our cohorts on the main floor.
While still comprehending what has happened in the glassworks, the angels were stunned to see me trudging over with plenty of bruises. Though Uxia was concerned for me, the heroes thought things were wrapped up, but I urged them to continue on. I knew that a ritual was being conducted in some secret tunnels connected to the basement. Wanting the party to be well prepared for what may be ahead, I told Renrua to go to a nearby safe to grab more medical supplies. After, Renrua pocketed a mysterious potion for herself. I was bleeding out on this floor, as she was thinking of herself. It's okay. She brought the rest of the supplies for a recovery from the earlier battle. Once healed, the heroes descended into the tunnels and uncovered something paranormal.
Breaking through a brick wall, the angels found themselves in a branching cavern and were quickly greeted by a sin spawn of wrath. As soon as Bella swiftly slain the creature, Zidane realized what the creature was and the significance of where we were. Sin spawns were a remnant creation of the ancient Thessalonian Empire, ruled by 7 powerful spellcasters known as Runelords. The Runelords used sin to cast magic and created rune wells to draw up more power for their respective sins. The sin spawns are terrible creations of Runewell's power, and there we were, being drawn into the halls of an ancient terrible past, in Lord Erasmus's catacombs. The catacombs of wrath.
After a hold-up and grabbing 2 Ranseurs, we moved forward and were eventually surprised by a Varghul that shrieked as it flew past. Realizing creatures were now alerted and that the path we took was a dead end, we steeled ourselves and prepared for a drawn-out fight. Upon contact with more Sin Spawn, we quickly tore through the reinforcements and even chased down the Varghul to a large door emblazoned with a Sihedron rune. Recognizing the symbol on the door, I instinctively produced an amulet I had from my father. To everyone's surprise, the door reacts to the amulet in a violent flash of light, as it is magically vaporized to reveal the ritual room. Inside, a closet was speaking to itself and tapped into the magic of the room to summon more Sin Spawn. Luckily, the fight was quickly settled with teamwork, my raw power, and Hecht using her paladin's smite. Once the fighting was done, I felt drawn to the rune well above the ritual site. Feeling compelled to use the amulet, I absorbed the energy in the rune well and gained mythic power.
So one thing I do want to point out from last session, I made the mistake in saying that whenever someone dies near the rune well, their soul goes into it. Now, we've talked about it after the stream, but I do want to clarify it, that when a person dies near the rune well, only their sin gets absorbed. Their soul is safe. Well, the thing is, what's really funny about Runelords, and you could, again, I love this module, and I love this adventure path, but you could tell it was the first one that they wrote, because depending on what book you go to, you'll get conflicting information. There is another passage, like in this very book, in Rise of Runelords Burnt Offerings, that basically says their soul gets absorbed. And then in other subsequent entries, it just says their sin gets absorbed. So there's inconsistencies even within these books, but I will make the command decision that only their sin gets absorbed.
Fair enough.
And then as far as Bella's necklace goes, Bella, no one told you how it works, but after getting your rank in mythic power, you just kind of intuitively understand how it works, even if you can't, like, explain the mechanics.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You feel how it works.
Essentially, yeah. Like it's like
You get how it works, but you can't say how it works.
essentially, yeah. People need to die to make it work. You do understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether Bella has any issues with that, that's up to her. So far, you could tell that no one has lost their soul over your power.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Bella has sprouted temporary wings and a halo. I would say for the next few minutes, they're just kind of out because, you're just kind of hitting magical puberty, so to speak.
God damn.
Right?
Oh, good, because the regular one
Puberty.
was so great.
Well, hey, maybe this will help Bella grow to not be the shortest party member.
As like, ho, 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 like all that's happening, Bella sprouts wings, a halo manifests, and you guys are blown back a little bit by like just her sheer might. You all just stare in awe, and as the light from the rune well succeeds, silence is broken.
As Runro was watching that display, she just began seething. And so she's going to move up towards Bella, take her claw against the side of the well, just kind of like brandishing her claw off of it. For 5 years. 5 years! I've been in this shithole of a city, looking for this. You come in here barely a day ago and take it to find that this has been under my nose the entire time! She's like raising her fist, and you take it away from me. And she goes to punch Bella in the face.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Roll your attack.
As
Furious swipe.
As you go to Falcon Punch, you hit her square in the nose, and your fingers crack under the density of just her bones.
Wait, you were looking for this for 5 years? Hell, we'd be lucky if we found this in our 90s.
What's going on?
I guess apparently Ranrua knows a bit about this.
No,
This-
the f was I just doing?
What do you mean? The f were you just doing? That's what we want to know.
I was
Before
just-
she went postal.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, so Bella, tell us the last thing you remember before this moment here.
I remember Heck chucking a Ranseur through that demon thing.
And that's it?
The demon thing gurgles.
Yeah, I was down there, Heck speared the thing, and then I heard this voice in my head telling me to claim my birthright or something. Now I'm up here. The f is going on?
I think that Runro would probably point to the amulet on Bella's neck. That had just siphoned everything out of the rune well.
For those that do not know, good people, rune wells were a powerful item that the ancient Thessalonian Empire used back in their ancient days. Thessalonian Empire, does anyone know that? Anybody? Okay. Well, long, long ago, before the Starstone fell upon Golarion, there were ancient civilizations back then that definitely had a lot more knowledge than we do now. One of which being the Cyclopean Empire, the other being the Aslanti, ancient humans led by the great god Erodin before he died and left us in the Age of Lost Omens, and the Thessalonians, an offshoot of the Aslanti Empire, who kind of got kicked out for their own unique ideas of possibly learning from things outside of Aslanti culture and that. So, after delving around in their own spellcraft and such. One of the big things that happened back then was the Emperor Zen Shalist got usurped by the Runelord, who definitely took the magic in a darker direction with Sin magic. And with these 7 Runelords, they perverted the 7 virtues of the Thessalonian Empire into the 7 deadly sins.
And I just absorbed that shit?
Well, from what I was talking about earlier, it seems like you absorbed a minor Runewell of Wrath, maybe? Which is very impressive. I mean, this is like a whole thesis graduation statement in its own right. Holy crap.
Well, that's just great.
Uxio is pinching the bridge of his nose because this is above his pay grade by so much.
Okay.
Amiko points out this is only a lesser rune well as well, which means there are more of them. Like, the Wrath rune wells were special, and that there were many, many minor ones and not necessarily one greater one. Most other rune wells were giant singulars, and having multiple of the lesser ones implies that there's more of these that you can absorb.
I don't know if I want to do that.
If ancient history was to be inferred, the buildup of this kind of magic can be very, very bad if left by itself. I'm surprised nothing... Oh shit, I'm gonna have to consult more research, because for all I know, this thing could be linked to a whole number of bad things that could have happened, but...
It was certainly spawning the creatures we fought here.
That's one of the powers of the Runewells. They can make Sin Spawn, particularly Sin Spawn of Wrath with the Wrathwell.
Amiko gently pushes aside Uxio a little bit and goes to investigate the rune well. She looks at it and starts examining the runes and whispering like some bardic song, trying to analyze it. And as she does this, she then opens her eyes and goes, "This was activated recently. I'd say within the past, like, less than a decade."
Okay. That's an interesting time branch there, considering...
How long ago did Nualia supposedly die?
5 years ago. Back during that one era of time.
Wasn't 5 years ago when all that bullshit happened in town?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it would be very intuitive for Runelords to assign their wells to try to tempt anything nearby with that sin that it wants. So, say, for instance, if a normal villager suddenly had a surge of anger and killed someone for some reason, as he kind of adjusts his handkerchief,
Amiko stands up and agrees, yes, these things were designed not only to be powered by sin, but to enhance it as well. It was cyclical in nature and self-powering to a degree. I would imagine several of us, she just kind of eyes Uxio, are a bit more wrathful than usual. And she adjusts herself. If more than one of these have been activated, and if Nualia's working out of that, our troubles are definitely not over.
True, especially since this thing can still charge up, and God knows what could be happen if it does get back to that point that the Quasit was trying to get to.
She looks at this again, and she says, I don't think this will activate without some special rituals. I think this activating on its own definitely wasn't the work of anyone in here.
It has been siphoned dry. It will not reactivate on its own.
In any case, it seems like this rune well will not be a problem, but we still need to find Pseudo and Nualia if she is here. So far, we've found no exit from here aside the one we came in through.
That is true.
I mean, there was other paths we didn't take.
Like
And
the prison
until
room
we-
that we conveniently ignored.
Until we have determined that there is an exit through one of those, we have to assume he's still down here. So let's find him.
Do you think it's possible that we can still take him assuming he hasn't run into any other stash of items or somehow is now breaking off into another room of dangerous sin spawn and...
Knowing my brother, and based on the diary you've shown me, I doubt he would be using the rune well for himself, and instead for Nualia. If we run into her, we might be into a lot of trouble.
Because she hasn't been tagged by us at all, so God knows what she has up her sleeves.
To be fair, and he not quite side eyes, but looks at Bella out of the corner of his eye. I think we might have a bit more power now than we did when we first encountered him.
A rune well can do a lot of things, but that doesn't necessarily make someone immortal just like that.
He gestures at her wing.
Bella, right on cue, your wings subside.
The halo's still there, right?
That's up to Frozen.
I'm gonna say yes, just because Bella hasn't figured out how to turn it off and on yet. So we kind of haven't figured out how to turn it off.
We'll figure it out later. I think Rodro would just kind of like hold up her claw and flexing it a little bit, and just kind of like side eyes to Amiko. Besides, I'm still not done with him.
Yeah, Amiko will actually perk up at this point. He says, listen, regardless of what he did to me, he is still my brother and my family. And you know what? Like, I would rather take him alive, and if given the opportunity, I've known him longer.
Okay. Fair enough. And as a deputy of Sandpoint, I'd like to see justice enacted in a proper civil way. So if I can somehow convince Pseudo to turn himself in, I will attempt to do so.
Amiko gives you a polite bow and says, thank you, officer.
Yeah, family can be tough, so... Anyway, as I kind of...
Based on the stories you and Lulu have told me.
Yeah, it's a bit complicated since my family really put in a lot of stuff for me to get to Corvosa and that, and it just wasn't fun in Corvosa after all said and done.
Either way, let's go find Pseudo.
Right. Okay. So does anyone know exactly what happened to me? Because I feel really good right now, and that's kind of unnerving.
I'm taking you to Father Xanthus once we get out of here.
You know, I'm not gonna argue with that one. That actually sounds like a good idea.
Actually,
and we have
if you wanna give me a second, when you ask, does anyone know what happened to me? You could hear a croaking voice and a bunch of shuffling as someone appears and says, "I can tell you what happened to you." As
is that a goblin?
Kill the goblin.
Whoa.
At the doorway, you see a goblin, and it seems that fate has not been kind to him, as in his hands he holds a large for a goblin scimitar, a battle axe, and with a growth coming out of his face, another hand holding a silver dagger.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
He says, I can tell you what happened to you. I take it you are the Angels of Sandpoint.
How would you happen to know that organization's name?
We haven't even had that for a week.
We're an organization now?
He...
Hey, more people can join.
I've already made the t-shirts. He comes in, and as he does, shambles in behind him, just like very professionally, are two humanoid zombies. And you can tell behind him there is a small horde.
Oh, God damn it.
Oh, no.
So, I don't expect you're telling this just because of funsies, am I right?
Come, Longshanks. Why don't you share this nice pool with me? As the sin spawn just kind of... like they're gone, I think.
To be frank, I'm kind of on edge right now, so I think we'll be fine discussing from here if that's perfectly fine with you.
He drops his dagger and then waves his, like, face hand, like, dismissively.
To think I've seen some ugly goblins.
I have a proposition for you, Longshanks.
Oh god, this cannot be good.
Agreed.
Now, is this goblin speaking goblin or common?
He is speaking common, and
Yeah.
he's actually speaking very eloquent common. It seems there is some intelligence behind this creature.
Well, first things first, tell us your name, because otherwise I'm going to be tempted to call you dog meat for all the goblins that have tried to come in through Sandpoint and failed.
I'm still holding the answer the direction. Where did it throw?
He rolls his eyes and says, I am uninterested in you Longshanks' politics, but what I am tired of is my people being used as your private armies.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that... let me get this straight. So, a Longshanks has been getting goblins to attack us, and... let me have a wild guess here. He probably has slightly pointed ears like mine, black hair, and probably carries a bow. That sound about right?
His brow furls. He says, you describe the Longshanks' mate.
Oh! Okay then. I think I have an idea. So, it's probably a female Longshanks then, I'm assuming? Because...
I judge not what their mates are. I'm a progressive goblin.
Okay, okay.
Aggressive, honestly.
Alright, so good. So you know of Suto, and I'm assuming Nualia is what this other Longshanks calls herself?
I refused to speak anymore by yelling up there. Come, sit by the pool
Fine,
with me.
Okay, sitting is fine. One sec, as I step past Evan, Hecht.
Yeah, this
Get
yelling
back
is
into-
annoying. It's just
I'm gonna follow right behind you with my rancier still ready to throw at his head.
Alright, one sec.
I'm actually going to have Uxio stay up here where he can keep an eye on the hall, if that makes sense.
The goblin looks around with a professional analytics. You there, changeling. You can throw that at me, but even if you strike me in the head, it's unlikely you'll kill me.
It was still hurt.
He gives like his first genuine wicked smile of the entire encounter, and he just sits on the floor, puts his feet in the pool, just politely kicks, reaches into his pouch, and pulls out some... God, you don't know what the meat is, but it is some kind of jerky.
Okay.
He puts it into his face hand as it just kind of feeds himself.
Oh my god.
Uxio's gonna whisper over to Evan. Evan, go down there and make sure they stay safe.
Alright.
Evan will salute and walk down there.
Rodra is not going down there, but she would prop herself on the rail here.
Okay. So, this has to do with Sudo and his mate.
Just let me tell you a story. A few years ago, a Longshanks left your town. When they left, they destroyed your cathedral, and then declared themselves a priestess of Lamashtu and joined my tribe. Since then, this Longshanks has declared herself leader and given herself much bigger head than any goblin. She treats us like we're her own personal army, and when this citadel was discovered, he points to the rune well that you were at, I was sent as an alliance offering.
Wait, to what exactly?
This rune well, as it's being called, she found one in our base.
Another one of those, as I point back.
Yes. She claims that Lamashtu has told her how to use it.
That's gonna cause Uxio to silently look towards Bella with suspicion in his eyes.
And Rodra just starts a little grin.
I don't suppose any other acolytes of Lamashtu in your tribe have had similar insight at all, or not really?
Yes, he smiles, wiping away a little bit of drool. Me.
Oh.
When I drank from the well's waters, it turned me into Lamashtu's chosen and guardian. Ever since then, I've had an affinity with the undead and gained greater understanding.
Right.
I now know goblins' place in the world, and it is not to be Longshank's pawns. That is a game you play, yes?
Some Longshanks. Others have a more free-willed perspective to allow
I cannot what you Longshanks do. I just wanted to get the terminology right.
Okay then. All right.
I think he's talking about dragon chess, Sir Dan, which is very played with all tactical people like me.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, apparently Pseudo and his mate have been screwing around with this goblin tribe, and he doesn't like it. So let's cut to the chase. You want us to try to deal with this upstart mate of Suto, correct?
He nods, and his face hand snaps a finger, and his small horde shamble quietly and somewhat politely into the room. There's a lot of them, and there's still more at the doorway.
God damn it.
Heck just drops the Ranzio because he's just like, oh shit.
I'm not sure that counts as a small horde anymore.
No, not at all.
He goes, do not worry. What I ask, you will already be doing. But, as the Longshanks foot soldiers, we are tasked with protecting Thistletop from invaders, which is what we would already be doing. But what you need to do when you attack our fortress, you need to send 2 groups.
2 groups.
1 to draw out the goblins to another location. I will be leading them. When I lead them, you must retreat. Run far as you can, but slow enough that we can pursue.
Right.
Insight check.
Okay?
Yeah, I'll make this check too.
Same here.
And you know what? I think this calls for inspiration die too, just to be doubly sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honestly amazed I got that high of a roll without using Aspect of the Falcon.
There we go. 27 perception. So.
Okay, so I'm going to continue his rant, and you'll pick up hints and clues as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
When your first group lures out the goblins, I will leave these, and he points to his little zombies, as protectors of the base. That is when you come in and do your business.
Alright, and it's just the mate of Suto, correct?
You can kill any zombie, any Longshanks, and any monster you find, but leave my goblins alone.
Fair enough. And assuming we were able to do the deed and deal with this upstart acolyte, what would you get out of this? Will you leave Sandpoint alone?
That face hand comes and like scratches under his chin. This is what will I do, I wonder? I will leave Thistletop, that's for sure, and I will take my men with me, and we will go out into the world. I can promise you, I'm not interested in your Sandpoint.
Okay, but where would you go exactly?
I believe that's my business. With that perception check, you notice that there's no possible way he can lure out all the goblins.
And you're sure that the opening force would be enough to deal with any straggling goblins to where you're sure that it's only going to be the zombies and whatever else?
He thinks for a moment and says, well, the chief may try to stop you, but chief's business is no longer mine. I only care about my men and, of course, myself. Anyone who remains behind, in my mind, is a traitor.
Oh, I see how this goes. So, how many of your men are in versus your chieftain? Are you in the minority or the majority?
I will find out when I return home.
Oh, so...
The alliance with this one, he points to the closet, is broken and the rune well is gone. Believe me when I say, the shiny new Longshanks, new chief, will be pissed and furious and looking for revenge that you've taken her mythic power.
Ah. So that's
Mythic.
how it goes.
Mythic power?
He smiles and says, I see you've been touched by the mythic power. Congratulations, you have now destroyed destiny itself. You're no longer bound by the threads of fate, as neither am I.
Would that prompt a knowledge check from
You can.
people?
You can do knowledge checks if you would like. All right, yeah, now it makes sense. There are stories of mythic heroes who can destroy fate and basically do what they want now. Like, you're not bound to the story, quote, quote.
Right.
The plot has left the rails.
Congratulations. You are now destined for great things. Since I have also been kissed by Lamashtu's blessing, I will also be leaving this tale. If I return, that is my decision to make.
But we have your gratitude at least, and that you would not attack Sandpoint later on. Do we have that understood?
My men and myself have no interest in your Longshanks village. We will be going and joining our own issues and our own problems. I heard the Lick Toads are doing something.
Oh, back to Goblin Warfare. How fun. Well, I wish you luck with your struggles against opposing tribes, at the very least.
It's very
No.
polite of you, Longshanks. Thank you. What is your name? My name is Korovis.
Rovis. 1 second.
Yeah, you could do a history check on that one.
Oh, he actually has history. 1 second.
He sure does, yes. I will actually give you this one a little bit. You've heard Shaylee mention this name before. This guy is a goblin hero.
Oh, a goblin hero.
Yep. There are currently 5 living goblin heroes scattered among the tribes, and he is actually the commander of the Thistletop goblins.
All right. Well, you, Korovis, may call me Danny. Danny O'Cur.
Danny?
Yes.
Danny.
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 Yes. D-A... I'll spell it out for him.
I'm not concerned with your cursed words.
Oh, just write it down for him.
Well, let me speak it in a tongue that you can understand as I say Danny and Goblin.
Does it sound like a certain DeVito?
Danny! Like, that's how you say it in Goblin.
Holy shit.
Yes. As my men and I will pursue, we will notice that our ancient home has been destroyed. Oh, yes. I must mention, I have one more condition.
All right, one more condition.
I will take my men, and if you destroy Chief and the Longshanks and the traitor goblins, you can take whatever treasures you want. But you, he points to Bella, leave the rune well for us.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure how I did what I did with this one in the first place.
I'm not sure if we can agree to what the Mythic one can do, considering she barely has any recollection of what she did after we slayed the previous master of the well, as we point to the gurgling abyss. She just walked up to the rune well as if in a trance.
I'll figure it out. And he thinks for a moment. Roll this. This is a social check.
Oh, linguistics,
Perception.
okay.
Yeah.
22!
He looks at you and says, well, you better figure it out. He thinks for a moment, says, regardless, leave it active. Don't do what you did up there.
And just completely drain the well.
His tongue slops out for a second, and then he pushes it back in.
Okay then. And is all of your conditions?
Leave my men alone. Leave the rune well active for us. And I will promise you that neither I nor my men will fight you.
Fair enough.
So a little sippy. Yeah, your linguistics checks basically said you can have some of the rune well.
Meanwhile, in the
As a
future,
treat.
oops, we drained it all. I guess we need to leave a note saying that we accidentally destroyed this rune well.
And just to be clear, this is another Runewell Wrath. Is that correct?
Correct. This one was touched by Lamashtu herself. And she has given many of our commanders gifts, including the Longshanks She-Chief.
Such as?
He stretches out his new hand. Oh, I couldn't possibly tell you.
Some more arms. Fantastic.
Honestly, I assumed you were born with that.
Well, it is a possibility, considering goblins do have a tendency to be mutated and develop limbs and such.
So he's basically confessed to you that he's got a mythic rank, and so do several of the big boys in Thistletop. So he, however, was not born with this hand, but it happened after he got his mythic rank.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, unless there's anything else you wish to disclose to us, or how we may possibly contact you so as to know how your tribe's feeling after all that's been said and done here.
Says that's for you to figure out. When you launch your assault on Thistletop, make it obvious, and I will go defend my tribe as its guardian.
Fair enough.
Basically, with your perception checks earlier, you basically know that this guy's going to betray the chief. He's taking his guys, he's leaving, and he's letting you guys take over. But once it's taken over, he and his boys are going to move back in, and they're going to be doing shit with the rune well. He says, if we're done here, I will be returning home.
Fair enough.
He snaps his fingers as his zombies shamble out. Oh, and one last thing. If any of you Longshanks are Lamashtu worshippers, you might be interested in our altar. There's a blessed one of Lamashtu deep within the belly of our fortress. Perhaps they can greet you.
And what would the Blessed One be exactly?
He chuckles like a hyena and just says, farewell, angels of Sandpoint.
And farewell, hero of the goblin tribe of Thistletop.
So formal. They shamble out and they remove, like, essentially their entire presence.
Uxio takes his hand off of an arrow that he was ready to shoot.
That was a close one.
Bella leans against the wall and then just kind of sits down on the ground, noticeably pale.
You okay, Bella?
I don't know.
I think she'll be alright. As Heck tries to put her hand through the halo. This is really weird.
I move up. As I kind of look at the halo. And this has been something you only just got through the rune well, correct?
Amiko says, why don't we give her some space, guys?
Sorry,
Fair enough, fair enough.
Besides, we'll probably need to consult experts that know more about such phenomenon here.
From this position, would Uxio be able to tell that that goblin is definitely out of earshot now?
Perception check.
And I'll shift to Falcon for this.
22.
For a while, the shambling echoes off of the stone chambers, but eventually even the echoing stops.
Well, I still say we need to find Pseudo, but this is...
Development.
Yes, that's one way to put it. Personally, he asked for us not to kill the goblins he sends out to...
Ah, I see how you're thinking this, Uxio. You're gonna say that we do our thing, but then suddenly Sandpoint rolls in and just deals with the goblin problem without us having to worry about it, correct?
In a sense. I do think that Ranrua should be among the group that is getting goblin attention. Your reputation among them will proc them.
That is a fair point, but who else will be with Ranrua? Because obviously she can't exactly take on however many goblins Corvosa is going to... Yeah, I need to really get that name down as I kind of...
Corvus.
Try to... Corvus, yes.
As you guys are working out tactics, Bella, your world is kind of like
Upside down.
yeah,
And sideways.
yeah. You're just kind of sitting against the wall, and an uneasiness kind of fills you for a little bit, and it takes you a minute as the boys are just discussing the next plan until you notice Amiko just sitting down next to you, very concernedly looking at you, and she's just kind of waiting patiently, you know, as you would.
This is all just so much, and God, I don't even know what I've just done.
She says, you've never felt mythic-y before this? Never felt like a hero?
I was a lumberjack. So, no, not particularly. And then there's all this Lamashtu nonsense. That's... I'm really hoping I don't start growing extra limbs.
You actually did grow extra limbs for a second. Hey, don't worry about it. You still feel like Bella?
Yeah, but for a minute there I didn't, so...
How many minutes ago was that minute?
Like 10 minutes?
Do you feel monstery?
No more than usual.
Do you feel angry?
Yes, but that's normal.
She kind of
If anything,
Mhm.
those wings were rather suitable to Sandpoint's little angel.
Ugh.
She kind of
Yellow rubber head at that.
she kind of slaps your knees a little bit, and she's like, "Come on, let's go put that to good use. I know a few people in town who might be able to help us out and figure out what's going on."
Yeah, definitely.
Besides, I've got some family business to work out, and I could use a bodyguard as I start going over into Father's estate.
I've been wanting to go there as well.
Amiko glares at you from across the pool and says, Not 20 minutes ago, you were saying that you wanted to kill the last of my family, and you punched our new friend in the face. I'm beginning to have doubts of our friendship, Ranrua, and people who are not friends with Amiko Kaijitsu don't do well in Sandpoint.
Well,
Yeah.
after your father had relieved me of duties, I did need to collect pay one last time.
So yeah, until my brother is found, and until he's brought to justice, I would like to keep this a family matter. And at the moment, Ranrua, you're not invited to the mansion.
Just gonna scoff at that a bit.
I thought I knew you these past 5 years, but now you're mentioning all these hidden agendas and things I wasn't aware of. I thought we were friends. But in that time, you've changed my entire worldview about you.
There is much I did not want anyone to know.
Well, for the time being, this gift, this mythic power, is currently Bella's. And until she decides what to do with it, or we know what we can do with it, I don't think you get a say. She stands up and she holds a hand out for Bella. Coming, dear?
Bella will take the hand and stand up.
Come on, angry girl. Let's get you some breakfast.
That would be great. Didn't get to eat anything before we came here. I've been on empty this whole time.
The girls start walking towards the entrance. Uxio and Zerdan, you guys are like discussing tactics the whole time. You got like a 4-step plan already like going.
I will say Uxio was also listening in,
Perception, again.
I think we heard.
Yeah, you definitely did hear then. Boys, let's go. And she grabs Zerdan by the shoulders and starts pushing him out.
Hey, I can walk on my own, okay? Jeez.
Uxio will get out Zerdan's way, and as Ameko passes him, are you okay?
She stops for a moment. She's in, like, happy host Amiko mode. Like, it didn't even occur to her that this morning was the worst moment of her life.
You know that later, if you need to talk, I'm willing to listen.
Her face does like a 1,000-mile stare for like a second, as if her brain tried to process trauma for a second, and then quickly snaps out of it and she says, I don't know about you, but my next priority is feeding everyone. So you too, mister, you go. And chop chop. She slaps you on the ass and tries to push you forward. As the party is leaving, Ranrua, you're looking out the door as Evan unsuredly pokes your hand.
She's just gonna give him the side eye. What is it?
Since I've come to this town, I've learned a lot about a lot of people. And I like you. I think you're cool. But if you threaten my friend again, you lay a hand on her like that, I'll do something about it. His eyes are like wide shut, you know what I mean? Like, they're staring. He's definitely conflicted and confused, but he basically summoned up all of his courage to threaten you there.
I've made my point. I feel not the need to go further on it.
He cautiously shuffles his way around the other side of the pool. Hecht, you coming?
Hecht, as soon as Evan says that, smacks Evan on the back of the head. Why, for the entire time, have you not gone and tried to comfort your partner?
My what? Partner?
Your bodyguard partner. You two came together. You guys have a closer relationship than any of us have with Bella. So why did you not go and comfort her when she was down?
he opens his mouth, like holds a finger.
You're still here. You're not going to comfort her. Get marching. March, march, march.
He steps back and runs off. Base hacked.
Right?
Yeah. Holy shit. Evan dashes down the hall and eventually catches up with everybody else.
And as for you, I expect you at the temple no later than the sun rising at the peak of its time.
You don't seriously expect me to be converted to your ways?
No, but I do expect a nice, long talk as she tries to intimidate him.
Roll intimidate. Oh.
In fairness, isn't there a penalty for trying to intimidate someone a size category larger than you?
No, not at all. But she does got to roll a will save.
A will save? Okay. 15.
It doesn't work, but the point is made. Ranrua, like, you know, basically, like, 2 other characters have basically intimidated you. I'm going to give them a +2 each to Hex. So she beat your will save by 1. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. So you've essentially gotten on everyone's shit list. Amiko is really reconsidering you, and so did Evan. Yeah. Now that Hecht has done it, you think maybe not the temple, but you're thinking you might need to sort this out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hecht, you'll notice Uxio. Uxio's not exactly concealing himself.
I mean, I thought about rolling stealth, but I figured that should be something I say instead of just do.
Sure, roll stealth.
I'll say, yeah, that this will decide if I RP with you or not.
Yeah, essentially.
Oh, that's without.
Yeah, definitely not.
Owl.
Yeah, no, you'll miss. Yeah, Hecht will miss you.
And
So
as
then-
Hecht walks past, he you move Ranrua at the same time that I move.
God damn it.
They crash right into each other.
He is
Oh my
gonna step
god.
out.
She didn't have toast!
Uxio steps out as Ranrua slithers along the corridor.
And
I
he'd
have
be like,
made no secret over the years that I do not enjoy your company. But I have respected your ability as a professional. What you revealed back there is that I have no reason to trust you. I will keep that in mind when you're around members of the city guard.
I didn't want to have to let anything out like that.
Well, it's out now. As far as I can tell, your actions may very well have been a threat to the city.
If I had actually found this on my own, I would have left as soon as I had been able to take it.
Easy to say, much harder to prove.
For the time I've been in Sandpoint, it was only to find the rune well, nothing more.
Once again, easy to say, much harder to prove. And if she's not going to say anything else to that, that's when he's going to walk away.
Yeah.
All right, the tensions rise and fall as everyone essentially begins leaving. What is this? The something of wrath? What the fuck?
Tunnels to the
Catacombs.
Catacombs. I couldn't remember the word. I was like Citadel. Like, why is Citadel keep popping into my head? That's incorrect. The Catacombs of Wrath. You eventually do group up again, and you eventually do find your way out.
This episode is brought to you by the LoadingCrew Patreon, where $5 per month gets you access to all of our uncut streams and monthly lore packets. This episode is brought to you by Nomura the Rogue Jellyfish Plush. Use the coupon code LCCGame for 10% off your total order at loadingcrewcrafts.com.
As you guys exit the Catacombs of Wrath, you start going down the halls again. Give me a perception or survival check, actually. Ranrua and Uxio, you both notice that, like, a torn piece of really fancy shirt that must be Pseudo's. You guys turn around and realize that he did not, in fact, head into the catacombs, but exited out the other path, which leads outside to the coast.
Dang it.
And was there a dagger nearby that cloth by chance, or?
Could you... What?
I threw a
He
dagger
wants his
at
dagger back.
Oh, he's... Not that I remember.
Okay.
You basically exit by the old lighthouse, and you then... Oh, hey Aldern. What are you doing here?
Oh, that's
we never know
creepy.
if they'll show up.
You know where...
That's creepy.
I always know where my bodyguards are. Ha ha! Onward!
Creepy.
Isn't it supposed to be the other way around?
You'll eventually make your way back to town through the North Gate. The mood is very soured as everyone is kind of like just in their own heads or tense or worried or whatever. And Amiko is the only one trying her best to keep morale up. And I'm just gonna roll her persuasion check to like see if she can cheer you guys up by the time you get there.
I mean, I'm not down in spirits. I'm just focused on what's ahead as far as what needs to be done.
True. You can actually decide, like, essentially how your character is reacting at the moment. But I imagine for, like, most of the party, they're kind of dour.
Alright. Not too bad. And I guess I could chime in with my own little bit of chatting here. Rolling linguistics.
Oh, goddamn.
So I guess I regale tales of the ancient histories so that...
You're talking about, like, Thassalon and shit?
Yeah.
I like that.
At least when Thassalon was good before the Runelords f***ed it all up.
I don't ever hear you swear, Zerdan. That's so interesting.
Yeah, funny that. I kind of tried to step away from that when I came to Sandpoint, took part as the city guard, but...
Where did you learn all about Thassalon? Like,
Well...
Go ahead.
It's a bit of a long story. I was always a curious kid, and my family always did get around a bit, trading merchandise and mingling with noble courts and such, and one of the things they decided to do was, because I was such a cool kid, they wanted to get everything together and send me to Corvosa, to the Academy, to learn more. Honestly, it was also a thing to where I wanted to come back with something to bring home to the family, you know? To show that Zerdan can do more than just sit in a cart and take inventory of merchandise and that, or...
Yeah, Bella, roll a charisma check. Oof.
I guess it's still on.
Yeah,
Answer is no.
So she's gonna be walking around with that over her head through the whole town.
If your halo lasts more than 4 hours, like consult your local apothecary.
Alright.
So yeah, she cannot figure out how it turned on or how to make it go away.
Tangentially related to Bella's halo because religion.
Uh-huh.
When we reach the courtyard or the main square near the temple, Uxio is actually going to... I'll meet up with you at the tavern later. I need to pay a visit to... Hang on, I pulled up his name. I need to pay a visit... No. I need to pay a visit to Das Corvat at the Red Dog.
Oh.
Okay. You guys reach just outside the gate and you notice that Bella's halo doesn't turn off. You gonna be okay, dear?
It's stuck. I can't get rid of it.
Alright. Try taking deep breaths. In and out. Close your eyes and just focus on...
We saw that Hecht couldn't grab it. Maybe you can, since it's part of you?
She'll put her hand up to it, and it's just made of light. There's nothing there to grab.
Yeah, but Uxio doesn't understand that.
Why do you think Hecht was trying to do it earlier? She was curious too.
I like what Zerdan's doing, the whole first aid thing. Zerdan, roll healing or the equivalent that you have.
I think he was trying to talk me through to relax, and maybe that'll do it or something.
Bella, I'll let you roll a will with a +2.
Alright, so 2 on top of this. 12.
You focus really, really hard. Basically, start thinking happy thoughts. And as Zerdan is telling you to relax, you eventually calm down. And, like, there's a little candle in your brain that you eventually... as the halo goes out.
Dawn, I wanted you to say it grew brighter and brighter as he thought happy thoughts.
Goddamn.
Okay. Good.
I mean, yeah, let's at least keep that as unostentatious as possible. Does it come out when you're angrier or nervous, or like how does that work?
Or is this the first time?
Yeah, that was the first time. Everyone's seen me use my rage before. It's never happened.
Evan, he pulls out a fidget toy, I would say. Kind of passes it to Bella as like, hey, just focus on this, dude.
Alright. She'll start playing with it idly.
And he grabs some other various knickknacks from his bag, and he'll just try to hang back and just kind of chat with you. Like, so, your mom never mentioned anything like this?
No, never.
Well, your mom's a powerful sorceress, as Evan gives you guys the thumbs up, as he always does, as you guys start walking back into town.
Okay.
Yeah, she's probably the most capable caster I know, and she and a few others actually looked at the medallion before. They couldn't make heads or tails of it. They thought whatever magic was dead, or about to be.
Why don't we take a chance, send your mom a letter, or we could head out of town soon. Our contract with
Foxglove.
We can collect our paycheck and go see your mom. Maybe she could figure it out.
And I guess while we were talking about possible things Bella could do, I could point out the fact that there are various bookstores and libraries, as well as other scholars that could possibly help you in figuring out this, because I haven't exactly studied too much on sorcerers and bloodlines in particular.
Evan, like, playfully jabs you with his elbow. He says, yeah, why don't we go to they got a library in town, right?
Technically, there's 3 if you count the academy down there, but technically the 2 places you go for books is either the Curious Goblin Bookshop or the House of Blue Stones.
Yeah, why don't we go there? Send a letter to your mom, see if she can get here. Find out. I'm sure she wants to know that you do have a little bit of magic in you, right?
Yeah, probably a good idea.
As Evan just does his best to just try to keep your spirits up, like following Hex advice.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you reach the Rusty Dragon.
As we're walking through town, has there been any commotion in the streets, like guards or anything like that?
No, not really. Everything's actually kind of peaceful today. There's a few guards stationed. Yeah, go ahead.
I kind of, as I'm passing by, check with one of the other guards. Hey, have you seen the sheriff or Bobby at all?
He said, yeah, no, they, he salutes you. He goes, Deputy, yes, Bobby rounded up some of the guards, and they're at the
Glassworks?
They're at the Glassworks, actually. Are you not there? Like, obviously. This was Joe. Joe's kind of stupid.
Alright, well, I kind of was taking a bit of a detour since I had an urgent notice regarding other things, but wait, is the sheriff there too? Just to be sure?
We haven't seen the sheriff since last night. I'm just on duty, sir.
Okay, well, I hope the rest of the guard gets notice that they want to form perimeter around the Glassworks since I'm... Did they send anything out as far as what they found in there?
No, sir. They're waiting for your orders at the Glassworks.
Okay. I kind of turn around. I write on parchment, like, these are the names of the various bookstores, where to go to find them, and some noble experts. You might want to look towards an older scholar named Brodert. He's particularly an expert on Thessalonian history and artifacts, so he might be your guide as far as to figure out mythic things, but any other topics should be covered by the other bookstores and libraries.
You hand that note to Bella, right?
Yep. And Evan, I guess.
Evan gives you a thumbs up as you run off, I guess.
And don't let me forget that I owe you guys, because you definitely saved me back there, and I owe some people some drinks and a story or two. And it's like kind of like in a way a bit before going back to business.
Amico, wow, we are just losing party members left and right. Hecht, are you staying? Are you staying for breakfast?
Actually, yes, I'll gladly accept your invite for breakfast. That way I can pull all 3 of you back to the temple with me.
All 3?
You for your family's trauma that's going on. You, as she points to Ranwu, for all the things that you just need to redeem yourself for in terms of talking. And you, Bella, because I'm sure hopefully Father Xanthus would have some answers for you.
Evan's like, what do you want me to do?
Keep supporting Bella.
Thumbs up.
And Bella will look to Evan's like, did she put you up to all this?
No, I'm a good friend.
Rodra with a raised eyebrow, you're quite mistaken if you think I'm going to tell you everything.
I don't expect you to say everything. I just want you to be able to redeem yourself a slight bit in front of your fellow party members who you've kind of broken ties with.
Amico, sensing tension, will be like, but you guys want breakfast first, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys eventually make it back to the Rusty Dragon. You guys reach the tavern, and I'm gonna head to
Yeah, with the strays.
Well, yeah,
I'm
let's get with the
sorry.
strays real quick. Yeah.
I'm
Uxio,
pretty sure Uxio's thing will be quick. So
what are you after, bud?
basically, what he's looking to do is he's getting proper battle weapons.
Okay.
He's trading out his short bow for a composite longbow, and he's not gonna get rid of the scimitar and the machete, but he's upgrading to a falchion.
You'll spend most of your morning talking to this guy. He's according to this, Das Korvut? I imagine he's German. Das Korvut.
I mean,
He owns
he's
the
a
Red
bold and
Dog
strong
Smithy.
man.
Uxio, what are you doing here this early in the morning right after the festival?
I assume you've heard about the Angels of Sandpoint business.
Nein. What is
Suffice
that? What's this Angels of Sandpoint?
Well, a newcomer to the town and hacked up at the temple have become local celebrities, let's say. And it seems that I've become associated with the group they're traveling in.
No, that's very interesting. Okay, but what are you doing here? You buying weapons?
Yes, I seem to get... Being caught up with them means I'm gonna be dealing with some interesting things, and I need proper battle weapons.
Ah, good. Place your stuff here on the table. Let's see what you got.
Alright, so currently what he has is his armored coat, not getting rid of that. His buckler, not getting rid of that. His machete, and his short bow, which the machete he's gonna keep because survival tool. Short bow is what he's upgrading, and I'm hoping to get a composite longbow for that. Or replace it with a composite longbow, I should say.
He says, you know I'm Smithy, right? Do I seem like a Fletcher?
You're the main weapon maker in all of town.
Oh, yeah, I am. Da. he goes over to the... He opens a closet. Just over so many bows. Ah, that's why I keeps the bows. You want a composite short bow?
Longbow. I figure I'm going to need proper war weaponry.
Ah, okay. He picks up the longbow and he pulls it back. I got about a +5 on this son bitch right here.
Yeah. And I still need money for the falchion as well.
Ah, okay. He puts up the +5. He's like, I got more weapons here. And he pulls down. I was like, what you after?
I just remembered something else. When we killed all the goblins, I made mention of gathering up the dog cutters to give to him because he can most likely melt them down, use the metal for something else.
You place the goblin things on the table. And what are you doing here bringing this shite into my store?
Well, I figure they're shite make, but the metal can still be used for other things.
9! He picks up a goblin short sword and just kind of waves it around and just slaps it on the table and it snaps in twain and it just goes flying off. This is pig iron! He throws it on the floor. What are you doing bringing this shite to me? I can't do nothing with this.
Well, it was either you or the general store, and I figure you have better use for it.
I take it off your hands, and he just kind of gathers it up and just kind of throws it into like a bucket, and then he starts wandering around. He places a +1 bow on the table.
All right, so +1 longbow, and how much does the falchion cost?
When I mean +1, I mean +1 composite, not magic.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
It is masterwork, and it is a composite +1. So,
Yeah, that's where I'm worried about it.
That's gonna be pricey.
how much does masterwork add to the cost?
300 gold pieces for a weapon.
Okay.
Woo!
No.
Okay,
Yes,
maybe I'll stick with a
'cause-
regular longbow for now.
And then he goes over. He says, you want to upgrade this, yeah?
I'll need to keep it as well because survival tool, but yes, for fighting purposes, I need to upgrade.
Okay. He goes into the back. You hear a shh as he pulls out this ornate golden-handled sword. I got a good plus on this son bitch right here. He puts it on the table, and this thing is obviously magical. It is just kind of glowing faintly as he puts it on the table. All right, so I'll take, these are 1, 2, 3, 5,000 gold pieces for both of these right here. That's fair to you, yeah?
Outside my price range.
He gathers it up, throws it in. Just grab something in the back, as he just kind of shoos you away.
That is a very shrewd business tactic he just pulled there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
He just showed you his finest shit, knowing that you can't afford it, so that you'll come back.
Right.
Then he's just trying to get a falchion and, I guess, a regular longbow, because ain't no way I'm getting a composite with that price.
You head on over and you start pulling from his, like, just a section marked leftovers, yeah? Like that sort of thing.
God.
You find a falchion in kind of poor condition. It seems serviceable. And then you finally do pick up a longbow.
It probably needs like some oil and maybe some sharpening, but otherwise it's a perfectly good weapon.
Mm-hmm. You put it down, and he picks it up, and he says, yes, it's one of my finest works, yeah. This would run you about, let's see, 150 gold pieces for the lot, yeah.
And how much would the pig iron that I brought possibly reduce the cost?
He just kind of looks down at the pig iron, looks back to you. It's nothing. That pig iron won't be very good at all. I'll give you a 1 gold discount, yeah. It's a good deal, yeah.
My current saving and what I have on me comes out to 125 gold.
Take that, yeah. He snatches it right up.
And it's a good thing I did not mention the silver for the cost.
He says, pleasure doing business with you, friend. Come back again soon. Buy my best work.
I'll keep that in mind for next time.
You step outside, and, like, unbeknownst to you, he, like, looks out, looks back in, and pulls out the 1+1 dog slicer you brought in.
I will say that as he's looking out, Uxio is giving one of his dogs the head scratches. Because he's got 3 dogs.
Yeah. Says, Uxio, I love that boy. I'll send him a gift later.
A gift basket?
Gift basket, yeah. There's an intelligent weapon on the wall that's voice left by Frozen. It's like, another gift basket? Yeah. All right. So you walk out, and Zerdan at the glassworks, you see the guards swarming the place. The place is now under lockdown as several people in Sandpoint are gathered around it. Most people are just confused, but they have already started to establish a crime scene.
I walk up to the line as I present my deputy's badge to any guards that may have not recognized me at this point. So
You've been in this town for 3 years and there's like 20 guards.
Well, who knows? There might be new guys that are like, oh, look at the happy who walks up here. Like, who the hell is he?
You've been here 3 years. They all know you. Standing next to the guard is your old friend Shalilu. Now, in the past couple years, as you know, she has found a new hobby, but at this moment, she seems to be back to her old self as she's giving commands to the various officers around. And as you get closer, you present your badge as one of the guards salutes. She looks at you and kind of like breaks face for a bit, like just really happy and beaming, and then like goes back to serious mode. She goes, Zerdan!
Yep, nice to see you too, Shaylee. When did you come in?
Just this morning, I received a vision from Desna that Amiko was in trouble. Is she around? Is she okay? We found...
She's actually back at Rusty Dragon now. Perfectly safe.
You kind of stop her in her tracks there.
Sorry.
No. That's absolutely... That's fine.
She asked if she was safe, so I just wanted to...
No. You're doing fine.
It fits.
Yeah.
It fits.
Okay.
She goes, you work fast, deputy.
A bit, but tell me your lead, because obviously you had a dream, right?
Yes, I received visions of, like, wrath and anger from Desna the other night, and I came back to town as soon as I could. Excuse me, as she kind of, like, moves the one hair that's out of place back into place.
That's perfectly fine, but yeah, that's actually a pretty spot-on dream there. If anything, it's just a matter of the details in this crime scene here. So, if you wish, as I kind of motion to the guards to make way for us.
You guys walk inside as you begin explaining what happened. Shaylee listens to you intently without interrupting, just allowing you to do what you do.
So yes, I tell her about how I was following up a note earlier from Pseudo, since there were reports that he was spotted in town, apparently, and following that up, it turns out that there were indeed more goblins nearby, and we dealt with them, and unfortunately, it seems that Suto didn't come back for happy family times, as I kind of pull out the journal and go over everything.
Oh, sweet Desna, there's blood everywhere. Yeah, you hand her the journal. As you explain it, she starts flipping through it, and she goes, I've heard word from the Thistletops that there is indeed some kind of grand plan in order, but I never would have imagined that they had access to, did you say mythic power?
Mythic power, apparently, because apparently they have a rune well where they're lairing at, and according to the journal, I suspect Nualia is not so dead after all.
She sighs and says, that's a shame. I always did like her, but...
Wait, you knew her?
More by reputation than anything else. You know, you go to a Desna cathedral, you're gonna meet the gal who, you know, is the daughter of the Desna priest.
Fair enough. But I don't suppose there's any sign that this could have possibly happened to where she would have burned down the cathedral, killing father, and then coming back to do all this as I go over the journal?
If we're dealing with rune wells, as you've mentioned, then anything is possible at this point, especially if they're affecting the rest of the people in town.
Kind of makes me think of if this isn't the only thing, like say maybe a certain woodworker was affected by this.
She nods and says, yes, while heading into town, I ran into Sheriff Baylor on the road.
Wait, was he going to Magnamar with prisoners in tow?
Correct. It seemed rather urgent. It seemed rather urgent, and when I mentioned my vision, he told me to run to town.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure there, because it kind of seemed odd that Sheriff Baylor just took those prisoners up the town, Magnamar, I mean, when we just recently had that attack that just happened.
He mentioned something about urgent business. He didn't really share it with me. I was more concerned with Amico.
Okay. Just wanted to be sure, because there's definitely been a lot happening here with how goblins have attacked Sandpoint, and apparently there's more of them. Among the developments, we had some prisoners tell us a bit more about the Thistletop situation, and yeah, I was expecting them to be staying a bit longer, since I definitely made progress with figuring that stuff out with what I know from Goblin and that.
Great job. Let's go talk to your friends then. I'd like to get more information, especially sharing what I know about goblins.
Alright, just 1 second as I make sure that the regular guard knows about other stuff, because there is a passage to a rune well down there.
You will spend, I will say, the remainder of your morning, essentially, like, telling the guards what to do. Amico heads to the Rusty Dragon, and with Renrua Hecht...
Amico?
I said Amico.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
This section of the party over here. You guys make it to the Rusty Dragon, and you guys stop when Amico stops and sees her door broken down. Oh. Okay.
Broken from the inside out.
That's how I saw it earlier this morning.
She sighs. Uxio?
Not here.
No, I know. She's basically confirming this was Uxio?
I would assume so. He seemed the most eager to run headfirst into the glassworks.
She actually gives a little bit of a blush at that. Okay. He's gonna pay for that. She, like, takes a deep breath, walks inside. She has a halfling that also works for her, that has just kind of closed down the bar for the day. The lady comes up to her and they start talking back and forth in Amiko's language, and the lady like essentially bows and then runs to the kitchen. She goes, "Make yourself at home, assuming that Uxio didn't break all my furniture."
After taking a look inside, it seems the door is the only thing that's broken.
She sets up a table and essentially starts playing host again. Evan kind of carefully walks up Bella and says, you want me to get you ale or anything? It's a little early, but I think you deserve a drink.
You know what? Fuck it, yeah.
He kind of just runs behind the counter, and Amiko just watches him do this. He starts like grabbing shit and just like trying to make a Bloody Mary. He is like doing his best, and Amiko, like once she realizes what he's doing, he starts pointing him in the right direction.
So 2 of these, half of that, and 1 of those.
He's just nodding and just throwing everything together. As that's happening, Amiko looks at Hecht and says, "Cinnamon bread?"
Just nods.
She looks at Ranrua and then looks at Bella. "Pasta, right?"
Yes, thank you.
She then heads into the kitchen, but before she does, she opens some bottles of beer, gives Evan a couple just like on the tray as he carefully like walks it out and puts it on the table.
A part of me wants to roll Evan's dexterity.
It is not graceful, but he does not trip and fall. You guys sit awkwardly around the table as Evan just basically keeps himself busy and talks about nothing. And eventually Amiko comes out and places your favorite foods on the table.
At the moment that she would put Runro's plate in front of her, Runro's gonna put 5 gold coins on the table and a dwarven firewater.
She stares and carefully reaches out and scoops up the coins all at once. And as she does that, Uxio, you make it to the door.
And at that point, I actually had a thought.
Uh-huh.
Uxio gets to the door, doesn't realize it was him at first, and I was like, "What happened to the..."
And a knife slams into the door frame as Amiko screams at you, "My door!"
Yeah, that's done.
Fix
I'm
that.
sorry.
I don't have
He'll
unseen.
do his-
I didn't prepare unseen servant today. Guess what your job is, unseen servant?
So first up, to try and pick it up.
Oh no! Lift with your legs! I mean, Runro cannot demonstrate because she doesn't have legs.
Yeah, he's gonna be exhausted by the time he's done, and like doing his best to try and get it into a functioning state, but he doesn't have the skill to fix the hinges.
Absolutely not, no.
Too bad there isn't someone here who works with wood.
As you are doing that, Amiko is just doting on Bella. "You doing good, dear? You being strong and so cool and stuff like that?"
Okay, now it's getting a little too much.
Oh, okay, nope. She will just back off and essentially just do her waiter thing. As this is happening, eventually the door is in a less sorry state as Uxio like shamedly presents like it back, and she
And
not
it falls over.
it falls over immediately.
I say I'd pay for it, and he holds up his much deflated coin purse with its with its 9 copper and 3 silver.
Your breakfast is in the kitchen.
You get the scraps.
You head back into the kitchen, and on the table is a lovely kebab and a dog dish.
You know, that's extra ironic given where he just was.
Yeah, in the doghouse.
I thought you were referring to the Red Dog Smithy.
Yep.
He was just around dogs, and now he's in the doghouse.
I will say the party will finish their breakfast. They'll all get their favorite food bonus.
Yay.
Yay.
And as Amiko is prepping Zerdan's breakfast, he and Shaylee each appear at the door, and we will call that a session.
Alright, fine. I'll start the next one with a save for the fire water.
You did get your fire water. If you want to roll save now, you can.
Okay. Fortitude?
Yes.
Or... Okay. 19.
I like to give her disadvantage.
Bruh!
Bruh.